Overnight, the city of Lubbock has received almost 2 inches of rain, flooding roadways across the city. And before this weather event is up, we could see 3 to 5 total. Family members are appalled at the sight of their loved one's resting place here in Lamesa. It's the week of July 4th and these veterans aren't being honored in any way. Not even a flag is flying. Karen and Abner, despite the boarded up walls, you can still see the magnitude of the damage. And by the time all 5 family members had made it out, the car was completely inside the home. The Rip Griffin Park behind me will be filled with about 4,500 to 5,000 fans this weekend. Now, we spoke to some of those fans this afternoon. Some were excited they got tickets. Others weren't so happy that they walked away empty-handed. If you're one of those fans, don't give up just yet. We have learned that 3 people have died as a result of this plane accident. Now, we do not know their names right now. Officials have not released that information, but as soon as we get it, we will bring it to you. Let me step out of the way right now and let you see the scene right here. The plane is still here. Cochran County Sheriff's officials are down there making their investigation and determining what they think caused this plane crash. They are awaiting the arrival of NTSB officials. They will be here in the next 30 minutes to start their investigation and determine what they think caused this plane crash. Now, we did speak to the Cochran County Sheriff, and he thinks that weather was a big factor in this fatal plane accident. But we will bring in the latest information as we get it. Well, Christy, investigators have since left the scene, but as you can see behind me, there is grass that has been burned along with tire markings and other markings left by investigators. This morning, officials say several calls were made to 911 about an SUV traveling the wrong way. A shallow water officer then went in pursuit of the vehicle, but he could not catch up. Some troops could be sent to the border in a couple of weeks. The hope is that all 1,000 troops then be sent to the valley in no later than 45 days. And any soldiers selected, he says that their estimating training takes 20 to 30 days in order to work with DPS. Christy, back to you. That issue is synthetic marijuana, a substance that used to be sold at the smoke shop that you see behind me before the district attorney's office cracked down on it. And Chief Albert Garcia with the Idalou Police Department says that those policies and procedures that they had to meet include every aspect that a police department has to have in order to be the best that it can be. Karen and Abner, in April, a woman was killed when a tornado moved through Mayflower, Arkansas. She was in her storm shelter, but the door failed. The National Wind Institute at Tech tested that door and found it was not intended for a storm shelter. Now they want homeowners to make sure this doesn't happen to them.
It's very important to the industry that the products that they build are installed as they're supposed to be and used as they're intended to be used.
And the National Wind Institute at Texas Tech is testing those products. Researchers say there are various types of shelter doors, so it is important to buy the door you need for your shelter.
Storm shelter doors are specifically built to withstand very high wind pressures and also to withstand debris impacts. And this particular door folded right in the middle when it was struck with a piece of debris, failed to the locks.
Larry Tanner says storm doors are very complex below the surface, which makes them very expensive.
It does need to be a steel door. It does need to have 3 deadbolts on it. The deadbolts need to be what we call a commercial grade 1. If the door feels light, doesn't feel very heavy, and maybe you got residential grade hardware on it, chances are it's not going to be safe.
In the next phase of their testing, they will bring in doors to test performance in high-pressure winds and debris impact. They hope to discover ways to salvage doors already installed.
Then we're going to develop methods to try to mitigate those doors on site so the homeowner can put these mitigations in. Maybe they're crossbars. We don't know yet.
And for more information from the Wind Institute about proper storm shelters, you can visit our website, kcbd.com. Karen and Abner.
Very interesting. Thank you, Case.
Many people found it impossible for McDougall to take on the task that he did, but he says he never responded to that doubt, and he realizes that it was difficult for people to envision the project that he had in mind.
We saw Overton at its best, and we certainly saw it at its worst. They wouldn't even let students live east of University. So, as you can see, that has changed big time.
That is the primary reason why he set out to change the area. McDougall says 26% of crime in Lubbock was in North Overton before the change.
That's a big distraction from people that either want to go to TAC or people that want to live or work in the downtown area.
But many didn't think McDougall could do it.
Really, I didn't take any offense to what people were saying. And early on, even my family wanted to have me committed.
It was several months before we had the official announcement, but I thought he'd gone crazy.
But it was a success and has been called the biggest privately funded redevelopment in the country.
The cleanup, and like I say, 15 years later, it's a completely different area. Crime is down. The restaurants that are popping up, the student population that's living here, it's really been good for that area.
It's been a huge deal for Texas Tech with student housing and with the growth that they have seen since 2000.
But DELBERT knows the success of Overton Park was due to the location.
I think it was something that happened because of exactly where it was, not necessarily what I did.
And Mayor Robertson admits he was proven wrong.
And here we are 15 years later, and it's an amazing transformation. It's a beautiful area, and not only do I have to take my hat off to Mr. McDougall, but I've got to eat a lot of crow because I didn't think he could do it. Now, both McDougall and Mayor Robertson hope that the success of Overton Park leads to redevelopment in Lubbock, specifically downtown. Christine Abner. The corn maze is set to open on September 20th, and Patty says that they are looking to start a fee of $10 per person, and that will include all activities at Addledew Farms. Karen and Abner. Residents around Indiana and Quaker between 98th and 130th Streets are urged to check for signs of burglary that may be related to yesterday. Then you can contact Lubbock Police. Well, Shaylee, some of the Republican precinct chairmen in District 83 decided to host the forum in an effort to allow them and the public to test the potential candidates on the issues that they feel we are facing. Well, Shaylee, despite our summertime heat, many have already gathered out here to support Bray's efforts to send kids just like him on a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Team Bray came about after Bray himself was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma last year, and he has experienced the struggles of what families with kids with chronic and terminal illnesses go through. And even though he hasn't been on a kids trip himself, he wants to make sure others had the experience.
I just wanted to help kids like me in my state, and I knew they needed to get away from all the hospitals and all the pain that they go through every day, and I just wanted them to get away from that.
Now, this event will be going on in Idalou at their city park until 9 o'clock tonight. They have food, fun, and entertainment. Later tonight, they will have a live band. And a donation is asked from you at the gate, but if you can't make it out to the event tonight, you can make a donation at the First Capital Bank on Indiana. They have an account set up there called the Team Brave Fundraiser. Shaylee? Hundreds of bikers were out here in the heat bringing smiles to the kids' faces who are normally cooped up in the hospital. But that's not the only time that they have been spending here. Well, Shaylee, this event came about after one of the members from the Dirty Gringos Motorcycle Club saw the need for a toy drive at a time other than the holiday season. He wanted to make sure patients knew the community didn't forget about them the other 11 months out of the year. Now the Motorcycle Club has created an annual event to fill that void.
Kase, this is pretty neat.
It is, Christy, and the areas seen in the catalog are something that we see every day, but Neiman Marcus saw something special about the scenery, and they saw it in more ways than one.
It was funny to bring them out here because they kept looking around like, where are the people, where are the buildings, like what's going on out here, what do people do out here?
KARLA Morrison was the location scout responsible for getting a world-renowned photographer from England and a top model from Amsterdam to the West Texas area. This year, Coco Chanel's fashion show took place in Dallas with the theme Romantic Wild West.
When Neiman's was getting ready to do the Coco Chanel feature for their magazine, they wanted to continue that theme with a photo shoot. And this area was perfect for them.
Morrison was contacted to send pictures of the area back to Neiman Marcus.
Hopped in my car and went for a drive and took photos of areas around here that I thought were similar, and I talked to landowners, and I kind of put a few things together for them, and I sent it back to them, and they liked it.
5 locations were featured in the catalog. 2 were in the Canyon Valley south of Rawls, and the other 3 were north of Idalou.
And it was interesting to see how they took the high fashion of Coco Chanel and integrated it into just a cotton field and a pump jack.
Morrison says she believes this will only help the Lubbock area and hopes for more recognition for the South Plains.
You don't often hear beautiful and Lubbock in the same sentence, but I think people aren't taking the time to get out here and see the big skies and the beautiful sunsets and all the wonderful things. And it's just an extension of, I think, the big push for a stronger community in Lubbock and the Arts District. And it's a lot of fun to get Lubbock out there and recognized for what we have.
The crew was out here in April for only a few days, but in that time they experienced the true West Texas feel.
People were out everywhere doing their jobs, and people kept pulling over, saying, "Can we help you? Is everything okay?" And I'm kind of used to that, you know, being from West Texas, but these people just kept looking at me like, what's going on? They were kind of at a loss for words because they had never experienced stranger friendliness like that and people willing to help. And I just thought that was a cool testament to the West Texas area.
Now you can check out that full catalog online. We have a link to that on our website at kcbd.com. Christy?
Pretty neat. I love stories like that. Thanks, Case.